So we mentioned that there are two types of evidences. One of them is definitive, and certain. Okay? The other is speculative. We will come to them, inshallah. We will come to the details of that and the definition. But when the evidence is definitive, okay, and certain, then can it be contradicted by a procedural principle? Never. That never happens. Why? For the obvious reason, very obvious reason. Dalil, the evidence, it brings us ilm, and qat', certainty. And certainty, it means 100%. I am 100% sure. So when you are 100% sure, your evidence is 100% worth, then it cannot be questioned, or it cannot be challenged by any other evidence, okay, or any other procedure. You don't need to go to the procedure. If you have evidence, you cannot go to the procedure, because the evidence is a qat'i. Qat'i, it means certainty. You have reached ilm, beyond doubt. You go to the procedural principles when you don't have evidence. Now that you have evidence and the evidence is so powerful, you don't need anything else. You follow your evidence. So in this case, definitely we go for the evidence. Okay? So it is rationally, it is inconceivable that we're going to have contradiction between an evidence that is definitive and sure and powerful with the procedural principle which is based on speculation.
So Sayyid, let me ask you, so you said how many kinds of evidences we have, and you mentioned that there was two, definitive or speculative, but isn't evidence then, that's why I only said one, isn't it only definitive?
No, because if you remember when we studied the contradiction between evidences, we said we will come across two hadiths. Each hadith is an evidence, but they contradict each other. We examine them. If one of them is definitive, okay, and certain, the other one is not certain. It is an evidence, but the value of it is not 100%.
I see. So if you have two evidences, one has to be definitive and one has to be speculative.
Exactly. Exactly. One of them is the other is, we don't call it speculative, we call it apparent. Not definitive, apparent. Okay? Zahir. The zahir of it, the apparent meaning of it is this. But the other one, no. It's certainty beyond doubt. Definitely the certain one overcomes the apparent one. We studied this when we had the contradiction between the evidences. So, and why we put this before that? Why we put the evidence before the procedural principle? Why do we put that? We put that because we use this in the absence of this. We use this one in the absence of this. We use the procedural principles when we don't have evidence. But when the evidence is there and the evidence is definitive, okay, then the term does not come to the procedural principles. Procedural principles, when you have shak, when you have cases of doubt, then the term comes to them when we have doubt. Okay? Because let's examine the principle of exemption, أصل البراءة, البراءة, أصل البراءة, the principle of exemption. When do we use it? Exemption. When do we use it? براءة. We use it when we have primary doubt. When we come to a situation. What is a primary doubt? Primary doubt, I walk into this room, there is a cup of water, cup of liquid. I know nothing about it. No knowledge about this whatsoever. Okay? No past knowledge. Nobody said anything. No indication, no writing, no statement. How do I treat this? I treat it as tahir or najis? Tahir. Because this is a primary doubt. Nobody has told me anything. So I treat this as tahir. So I use aslul bara'ah, exemption. We have the continuity. Continuity. Okay, the caution, let's take caution. Ihtiyat. Ihtiyat. When do we use ihtiyat?
When we have some information. Or we have
Summary knowledge. Ilmul ijmali. When we have some summary knowledge that someone said, listen, when you go into the room, there are 3 bottles there. These 3 bottles are here. One of them has something wrong with it. Then this is a summary knowledge. It's not detailed, it's summary knowledge. When in the case of summary knowledge, there is some suspicion. In the case of this suspicion, we have to apply what? Which principle?
caution.
Exactly. We cannot apply exemption anymore because someone said something. I can't say close my eyes and I say no. No, it's not cleared 100%. In the first case, when I come and there is a 1 bottle or 3 bottles, nobody said something about them. Then I treat them as a pure and clean. But when someone said something, listen, there are 2 types, 2 dresses here, 2 sets of dress, or 3, or 5, or 10. 9 of them are clean, 1 of them has a problem. Then I have to apply the principle of caution here, ihtiyat. And what is the doubt? Doubt. What is continuity? Istishab. What is the principle of continuity?
You have certainty.
Exactly.
you continue,
Exactly.
And then you stop and you have doubt.
Exactly. We have certainty, but then we reach a point. Does this certainty move forward or stops here? What do we say? We say yes, it moves forward unless you have another certainty that tells you stop here. So you have to continue. So we presume that we have to continue. Okay? An example, many examples of that. A person, sometimes the example applies to the hukm, sometimes to the subject. The hukm, we give an example of the sunset. Do we stop fasting or we continue? We must continue until we make sure with certainty. If I am in a room, curtains are drawn, the room is dark, I cannot say, yeah, it's dark now, so definitely this is the night, and then I go and eat. No, you have to make sure that the time of sunset or layl has arrived. Okay? So this is continuity. When it comes to subjects, let's say someone comes to Orange County and he finds such and such there in the mosque. And then he comes next year and he doesn't see him. Does he say this is dead? We cannot say he's dead. You have to assume that his life is continuing unless you receive the news of his death. So if you've seen him last time he was alive and now he's not there in his shop, in his house, in his apartment, we can't say he's dead. So let's go and give the inheritance, liquidate his assets, his house. His wife is takes iddah because she's dead and she can marry some. No, we have to make sure that he is, or he's in the prison, let's say. They took him, no news about him. They took him, they abducted him, they put him in jail, no news. We cannot assume that now his wife, she can, free herself and marry someone else because this guy is dead. Because whoever goes to this prison is going to die. No, you have to presume that his life is continuing unless you are informed with another certainty. So this is the principle of certainty, continuity. So we have three, in the procedural principles, we have three principles. We have the exemption, we have the caution, we have the continuity. Now, if you remember, Sayyid Muhammad Baqir al-Sadr, rahmatullah alayh, the author of this book, he said to me, he's unlike other scholars. He said, my primary procedural principle is not exemption, is caution. And the secondary procedural principle is exemption. This is his idea, that we have to apply caution. And then the primary is caution, the secondary is bara'a, exemption, unlike other scholars. Okay? Now, so we know that if an evidence clashes with aslul amali, procedural principle, then definitely the evidence comes first. Why? If the evidence is qat'i, definitive, then definitely it comes first. There is no room to go to the next step. No room. You cancel this. You throw it away. Now, we come to another example. One, the evidence is not definitive or definite. Is not definite, okay? It is speculative. Okay? Dhanni. It's not based on ilm. It's based on speculation. Dhann. Such as what? We've studied this in the past. Such as when one person brings the news, khabar al-wahid, one person, and that person is trustworthy. But however, every trustworthy is right? No. Because sometimes the trustworthy, he is honest, he's not lying, but he's wrong. He doesn't see good, he doesn't hear good, he doesn't read good, he doesn't speak good sometimes. Sometimes he wants to say, for instance, he's speaking, he's very truthful, man with integrity, with honesty. He wants to say, let's say, he wants to say December, he says September, and he's recorded. And people listen to him. Wow, he said September. He didn't say December, he said September. Can we accept that? No, we cannot accept that. He makes mistakes. Or sometimes he sees something, okay, but it turns to be something else. He doesn't read the numbers. He doesn't, So they commit mistakes, definitely. But what does the lawgiver say about them? When he brings in news, do we accept it from him or do we reject it? Although he's one person.
You accept it, but you have to confirm it.
The lawgiver says, it is how do you confirm? There is no way of confirming. There is no second reporter, just one reporter. Only one person saw this incident. Only one person transmitted this hadith. One person. We searched for another one, we could not find. Just one person. Khabarul wahid. We could not find. Just one. Khabarul wahid. Only one single person. but he's trustworthy. And there is a possibility he's mistaken. He didn't hear well. He didn't write it well. Or while he was writing, he made mistake. He's not ma'soom. He's not perfect. People make mistake. While they are reporting, they make mistake. Okay? Although there is a possibility for him to make a mistake, but the lawgiver says, accept it from him. I am going to elevate his status into the qat'i. Although it is dhanni. Dhanni means it has the possibility of being right and the possibility of being wrong. But you treat it as right. Because if you don't treat that as right, you will be in trouble. So you can't accept anything from anyone. Okay? So we give it the value. We add the value to it. Although it has the probability of being wrong, but we endorse it. We push it, we endorse it, we support it. So once we support it, you can treat it, though it is dhanni, speculative, it's dhanni, but you can treat it as what? As qat'i, and trust it and depend on it and act upon that. Okay? So the lawgiver, the shari', the sacred lawgiver, he gives this value. He endows this value on this dalil, the evidence that is dhanni and suppositional. It has suppositional nature, but then it gives it the value of being, making it credible. Are you with me, doctor? Mm-hmm. Making it credible. Now, if this evidence, which is dhanni, speculative, doctor, not qat'i, it is dhanni, speculative. Now we said if this one, which is definite, clashes with this, then this one comes first, the evidence. Because it is definite, there is no way you can go to this. This is a lower status. Okay? We use this in the absence of this. But when you have this, the term does not even reach this. But if the evidence is dhanni, speculative, and it clashes with this, okay? Both are dhanni here. This one dhanni and that one is dhanni too. Okay? The procedural, doctor, look at me. These procedures, these three, exemption, continuity, caution, are they qat'i? Certain?
No.
They are not certain. We are using a procedure to reach. This procedure could take us into the wrong direction. These are dhanni too. So if this dhanni, which is evidence, hadith, clashes with the procedural principle, which is dhanni too, which one comes first? Both of them have the same nature. This one is dhanni, and the second one is dhanni. Are you with me? In the first example, one of them, this one was qat'i. So there is no way we discuss this. That one takes precedence and dominates and destroys this one. But when the evidence is speculative, like the example we gave, khabar al-thiqa, only one single person who could be right and could be wrong, clashes with procedural principles, such as what? Let's give an example to make it easy. This one is a hadith, but narrated only by one. Singular. Only one narrator. Just one. Okay? Clashes with this one, and the hadith says it's haram, let's say, to do this. But Aslul Bara'a comes and tells you, when you don't know, you are exempted. So it's halal. Okay? Let's take this example. This is cup of tea. Cup of tea, there is a hadith, okay, narrated by one person that tea is problematic. Don't drink tea. But Asl al-Bara'a says when you don't know, okay, you can have it. They clash with each other. The example that the author gives is that the prohibition of immersing oneself in the water when he's fasting. There is a hadith that says don't do that. But the hadith is narrated by one person, so it carries the speculative nature, not certainty, not definite, speculative, because it's narrated by one. And Aslul Bara'a, it says it's okay, because you don't know. When you don't know, go ahead and do that. So they clash with each other. But the hadith says, which is narrated by one person, it says don't do that.
And that hadith is from a muwaththaq? Person is thiqa?
Trustworthy, definitely, but one person. No, if he's not trustworthy, you don't even look into it. We don't consider it. The hadith, when it is not thiqa, when it is not trustworthy, it has no value. So we don't even consider it as hadith. We consider it someone said a statement of his own self. It's not coming from the Prophet or the Ma'soom. But we are saying trustworthy, definitely trustworthy. Yeah, this is why we consider it, we look into it. If he's not trustworthy, if he's a liar, or he's unknown, sometimes not a liar, we don't know anything, we leave him alone. But he's trustworthy. So which one we use here?
Speculative, the dhanni, because
Why?
because you said that the shar says that if it's somebody that's thiqa, then you elevate it to the
Absolutely, absolutely. So here the Shara' says take care of it. Although this is hadith and dhanni. This one is also dhanni. So this one, the procedural principle cannot overrule this one. You have to go for, because this is evidence. Evidence, but a second class. Are you with me, doctor? It's a second class evidence. But even the second class evidence can beat the procedural principles. Why, doctor, even the second class hadith can beat the procedural principles? Why? Because the procedural principles, their turn comes, one, there is no evidence. You lack evidence. Neither you have definite evidence, nor you have a speculative. When there is no, in the absence of any evidence, first degree and second degree, you go to that one. But once you have an evidence and the lawgiver is giving it credibility, then that one takes precedence over this one. Okay? So it makes it credible. Now, this one has a nickname. The dhanni here has a nickname. Beside the name dhanni, okay, which is suppositional nature, it has suppositional nature or speculative, it has another nickname. The nickname is amara. Amara, which is a sign. Sign, S-I-J-N. A sign. So it is a sign. So when the dalil, the evidence is speculative, they give it a name. See, doctor, when the dalil, the evidence is definite, we give it a name, a title, when it is definite. What is the title? Qat'i, certainty or certain, okay? When it is speculative, we give it another sign, which is another name, nickname, which is sign, amara. Not imara, amara. Imara, governorship. If we say imara, governorship. Amara, it's a sign, it's an indication. Okay? So in this case, we had a conflict between what?
Speculative and procedural principle.
but say that in specifically, we had a
Sign,
between a sign and,
procedural principle.
so which one comes first?
Sign.
Exactly. Signs, they come first. They take precedence. لأن الدليل الظني الذي حكم الشارع بحجيته يؤدي بحكم الشارع هذا إلى دور الدليل القطعي, because this dalil, that is, it's speculative in its nature. It's not 100%, it's 70%, it's 50%. But the lawgiver gives it the role, exactly, the role of a definitive one, elevates that. It gives it authority, okay, to assume the role of the definite dalil.
Is that, Sayyid, is that the reason why Ayatollah Assad defers to caution?
It
For
could
that
be.
reason?
It could be. It could be, because this is one of the, yes. Yeah, he says, he has another philosophy. He says it is true. What is his philosophy? To put caution as a primary procedural principle, not secondary, while others, they put it as secondary. He says, it is true I did not receive a message from him, but he's my Lord. I have to assume, I have to respect him in a way that I have to assume maybe there was a message, but it did not, it lost somewhere. So I have to take, he says, extra precaution, because this is halal and haram. And I don't want to mess up with that. I don't want to mess up with that. So maybe there is a message, it came, but I'm not finding it. So let me take, in case I don't know about this, let me get back, one step back. Don't touch it. And he gives the example of, let's say you work in a laboratory and there are many chemical substances there. Some of them you know them, safe. Some of them you know they are dangerous. You come across others, you don't take chances, because it destroys the whole lab and it kills you. This is not candy. This is poison. This is, chemical substances. It could destroy you. So the wise person says, no, even though I don't know, there is no sign, no name, no tag, nothing is, but this is a dangerous business. I don't take chances. This is his philosophy. Okay, this is why he says the primary procedural is caution. He opts for caution and he calls it primacy. The primacy of caution. Primacy of caution. Meaning caution always comes first. Then the second step is exemption. So in this, they say always the signs, they overrule procedural principles. The amara, which is the sign, hakima, they predominate the procedural principles, because the lawgiver is crediting them with credibility, with value, treats them with value, even though they are speculative. So the term does not reach that one. This poor guy comes as a last resort. When there is no evidence, then we come and we put this on table. But when there is an evidence and that evidence carries some weight, we consider it before we go to this. وصلى الله وسلم على سيدنا محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين.